What's up, folks? Welcome to 4th and 16 Sports. I'm your host, Ellis Tolbert. We're going to be talking about college football live tonight here from Pronk Studios in Greenville, South Carolina. I hope you guys are all having a good Tuesday night. It is 10/20/20, so you know we got to get excited about that. A lot of stuff to talk about tonight. We're coming live to you from Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. What's up, YouTube fam? Hopefully you guys are having a great night. We're going to start doing this more often, so if you will, please like and subscribe the page. We need that. Turn on that notification bell. We're trying to get this thing built up, so we want you to help us out there. Also, we're watching from Seldom Used Reserve and the Roar's Facebook page. Hopefully you guys are having a great night tonight. We're going to be talking about Clemson destroying Georgia Tech. We're going to talk about them destroying what we think will happen with Syracuse. We're going to be previewing some other games around the country, as well as just talking about college football. So get in the comment section. Let us know how you're feeling tonight. Also, let us know if we're having any kind of audio and video issues. We're going to be good on that. Fax, how you doing tonight, man? My co-host, what's going on, buddy?
We're just excited to talk about some college football tonight. Clemson looked dominant in Bobby Dodd Stadium, where, track record hasn't been too great. Next week, moving on to Syracuse, should be an easy win. Spread is currently at 46 and growing.
And growing.
So it opened at 38 and then was immediately moved up to 41, and it's climbed up to 46. And today is Tuesday. So I'm going to expect this spread might get to the 50-plus range, which is just unheard of.
Yeah, sometimes in other years, I guess that would bother me. It'd be one of those deals where I guess if Clemson was playing anybody else or you saw that spread keep climbing, that's like recipe for upset. I don't feel that at all in this game. I actually feel like Clemson's going to probably get close to that. Dabo's been pretty good against the spread and with the over-under, so I'm going to pick the Tigers to go with that. Of course, we're going to do that. But let's go ahead and talk a little bit about the Georgia Tech game. Of course, Clemson put up 73 points down in Bobby Dodd. It's one of those things where I think we all thought that they were going to blow them out, but not like that. It was truly one of those games where it felt like you could name the score for the Tigers. I mean, honestly, if they kept their starters in, they probably could have scored upwards of 100. But it was good to see a lot of different things. We saw a lot of depth. We saw Clemson's depth come out, specifically at quarterback. We found what I think should be our new third-string quarterback in Hunter Helms. People were upset and up in arms about Will Spires playing quarterback, but people don't understand that first and foremost, Will Spires was a high school quarterback, and he is our emergency quarterback. DJ Uiagalelei did not play. He had some shoulder tightness, so obviously we had to put him in. And plus, Tyson Pumachan broke his non-throwing hand. So that's going to be a little bit of an issue, but we'll talk about that too. Overall, really good day. I thought that, if anything, the only problem that we had at one point was the secondary needing to wake up a little bit. We saw Jalen Camp come out early, get that long 50-plus yard touchdown pass from Jeff Sims. It looked like at that point, here we go, Georgia Tech, they're all on the sideline, doing their thing, right? And then if you fast forward, literally like 6 minutes later, Clemson's up by 1 million. So, I don't know, great game. Fax, did you find anything in this game that you really particularly like to see?
The fact that we won by 60-plus points, that was pretty nice to see. But if we're specifying, Miles Murphy, absolute monster. And it's just one of those things where you have a kid come in like that as a freshman, and he's already making this noticeable impact on the field. He is all over the field in every single game Clemson has played. And Bressee's been great, but I would even go out on the limb and say Murphy has been better.
Yeah, he has. And we're also seeing younger guys in the linebacking core get in and get a lot of play too. So you're looking at guys like Trent Simpson coming in. He was all over the field on Saturday afternoon. I mean, it was one of those deals where you could put anybody in this game and they were going to produce. If you would have brought the Herb Streets over, they would have probably produced. Again, people were making fun of Will Spires. He came in and had 13 yards on 2 completions. It's one of those things. So there was not much to harp on in this game. I felt like Trevor Lawrence has shown us why he is the Heisman frontrunner. He's starting to not only just look for the checkdowns, but he's also processing things faster. You saw other years where he would just rely kind of on his arm strength because he could make those things happen. But now he is one of those quarterbacks that's just everything slow motion to him, and he's finding everybody. At one point, he threw the ball to almost every guy that we had on the receiving core and tight end position outside of Braden Galloway. I don't think Braden got a catch in this game, but Davis Allen has been a revelation. I really like Davis Allen. He's one of those big, strong guys that can really move. He's catching the ball. It's opened up the middle of the field for Clemson. They're able to do more things. Tony Elliott he has been impressing me in this game. The one thing I will say, and it has been an issue, and I know he caught a touchdown, but it's been bothering me for a couple of weeks, is Frank Ladson still dropping the ball. Something about that has been irking me, especially now that you have Joe Ngata. We got some comments in the comment section. Clemson Carson comes in and says, "What up?" He asked, "Do we see Ngata making a big leap soon?" We had another question from John Sarian over on YouTube as well. He asked, "Is Ngata healthy? Abdominal muscles must really take time to fix."
I would say that Joe Ngata is not healthy
I
right
don't
now.
think so. By the way he played, I don't think so.
No, we've seen Ngata, and especially we've seen what he can do when he's on the field, his explosiveness, and also coming out of the Clemson camp, just in practice and stuff. We know what he's capable of. He's an athletic specimen. This is not Joe Ngata in full form.
No.
If you're talking about making a big leap production-wise, I would say no.
Yeah.
If I'm just being honest, because I don't know how many first-team reps he's going to get. Maybe later in these games you'll see him work his way back up to full health, but I do think he can still be a big contributor on this team later in the season. And there will be a time where we need Joe Ngata to step up and make a play, and I'm confident that he can make a play.
Well, and now that you mentioned that, obviously I think we know the alpha dog on the receiving core is Amari Rodgers. He looks another level right now. His speed has gotten even faster. I don't even know how that's happening, especially with that torn ACL, but he looks much better. And then we also have some guys that are starting to step up now. Cornell Powell starting to play like a legit receiver. Brandon Spector even. Spector Boy coming out, killing it. I mean, he looks much faster than I thought he was. Of course, we knew he was in that 4.5 range, but he runs in the game. He has game speed, right?
Yeah, we talk about that.
We talk about that all the time, game speed. But and then you see a Joe getting confident now. He's starting to catch balls and stuff. And if Frank Ladson can put it together, if he can consistently catch the football, I mean, he could be literally the most talented receiver that we have. He just can't do it.
And I think the thing is, this might be a odd comment. I don't think he has natural receiver hands.
Maybe not.
He's
like a basketball guy.
He's like, and you can tell he's so naturally gifted athletically, but his hands just aren't soft. He doesn't have those natural receiver hands. And it's obvious, even when he does catch a ball, you see Amari Rodgers, you see Brandon Spector, you see all these guys, they're coming down with the ball in stride. Ladson, even when he does come down with a catch, there's a lot of bobbling, a lot of juggling. He never really catches a clean ball, I feel like.
Yeah.
And that is actually super concerning going forward, that Ladson is at this point in his career. And, if you're Trevor Lawrence, in the back of your head, you got to say, even if he's got to step on a guy, is he going to catch it if I throw this ball?
And honestly, don't forget about E.J. Williams, another player that's coming out. Right now, I'm not saying Joseph's going to get buried, because he's clearly not going to get buried. But I think that going forward, he might end up being one of those guys that is more rotational, just because you're going to have other guys step up. And that's fine. Yeah. You want that competition because it brings out the best of you. But hopefully he gets healthy soon and we see more of Joseph Ngata in the future. Yeah,
in the comments, we got Billy Sigmund saying a Joe will take a spot.
Yeah, guess what? I mentioned that. So a Joe is getting confident. I think he's still really raw. He's a developmental guy.
He's a really good athlete.
But Canada loves this guy. He's the Canadian faithful. They're all asking Dabo about questions about him. But at the same time, it's like he has to work on the mechanics a little bit, work on some route running, get just refined as a receiver. If he can do that, he's got the size. The kid's like 6'3", 215, 220. If he gets like that as a true freshman, if he keeps working on this, and he could be one of the bright spots in Clemson receiver room. I'm just super excited about that. We got Randall Ballard in the comment section as well. He asks, will Clemson be 14-0 in 2020? Yes or no?
Yes.
I think so.
I really do.
I'm not. Of course, you don't always want to have orange-colored glasses and be like, oh, Clemson's going to beat everybody all the time. But truthfully, if we're evaluating Clemson right now, they are the most complete team. I've seen Alabama. I understand their offense, lights out. Defense, still a little sus. Georgia, clearly they have a ceiling with Stetson Bennett. This is why they were already talking about JT's going to get some reps, and we might even think about Dwan again. Remember, Stetson Bennett was not the quarterback they wanted to start the season. It was Jamie Newman, and then it was Dwan Mathis. I'm not worried about anybody in the Big 12. We're seeing the Big 10 come back in. You know, obviously you got to give respect to Justin Fields, but right now I'm thinking if Clemson gets in and they keep playing the way they are, you got to think we're only 5 games into the year, and they're playing like they're in the national championship right now.
Yeah.
There's a good chance they can go undefeated.
I think that Clemson is the best team in the country, and the only team that I've seen, I mean, and it's just going to sound, these are the 3 teams that went undefeated last year, but Clemson, Ohio State, Alabama, or Alabama did not go undefeated last year, but Clemson and Alabama are always the top 2, and Ohio State pretty much every year is tagging along as the 3rd. We saw Ohio State get over that hump in 2014, win the title. But have they even been back to the title game since then?
Who?
Ohio State. Mm-hmm. So Ohio State hasn't even made an national title game.
It's been, I think it was
2014. So
yeah,
it's been 6 or 7 years since Ohio State has gotten to that national title game.
Now, that, I will say, last year's team.
It was really good. But they have had a lot of COVID opt-outs.
Yeah, but those guys have come back. You're talking about Wyatt Davis.
Yeah.
You're talking about Sean Wade coming back. You already had a lot of different things. Trey Sermon's going to get a chance to actually play now. Oklahoma, transfer.
So let me ask you a question.
They'll be fine.
Who do you think is better, Alabama or Ohio State? If you are a Clemson fan, and let's say Clemson gets the 1 seed, that's the 2-3 matchup, and Clemson wins. Who are you pulling for to play in that final game?
Who are we pulling for to play, or who do we think is better?
Who do you think is better, and then who do you think?
And I'm going to make my case for both teams. So I think right now, give me Alabama's offense.
Yeah. Right
now. And I know that's weird to hear with Justin Fields being as good a quarterback as he is with the guys and Chris Olave, Garrett, and all those guys like that. But right now, I think when you just look at the basics, all right, we're going to talk O-line. I think Alabama's O-line is better than Ohio State's. We're talking about receiver rooms, not even competition. We know Devontae Smith is going to be a first-rounder. Jalen Waller, probably going to be a first-rounder. John Mechie, probably going to be a first-rounder. Go to tight end. Miller Forrestall, probably going to be a 4th-round guy. They're going to have multiple first-rounders along the O-line, and then you have Najee Harris. Behind him, you have Brian Robinson. Max playing out of his mind right now. I think the offense is better. If we're talking defense, without a doubt, Ohio State.
Yeah.
Ohio State, it would be that's why it's so intriguing. I think this might end up being the matchup.
I would love to see this
those
game.
2 teams play each other.
I would love to see this game because it would kind of be, and we know that Alabama is stronger on the offensive side of the ball right now, even with the general dynamicness of Justin Fields. But don't sleep on Mac Jones. I've been saying this for months.
Yeah, you have.
I've been saying this for months. Mac Jones is legit, and people last year when Tua went down, Mac Jones threw a couple pick sixes. He's got the playbook revolved around him now.
Well, we talked about this again.
Yeah.
Mac Jones does not thrive in a Tua-based offense.
No, they're letting him air the ball out now.
Exactly.
He's not a quick pop quarterback. That's not his.
Yeah, he's a deep ball thrower. He's one of the best deep ball throwers. But I think when he was trying to do the complex schemes that Tua was doing, and even I said this too, back in 2018, a lot of people gave me flack, and they were like, "Oh, because I was the first person that came out and said, I'm going to go ahead and toot that horn. I said that Alabama's going to get blown out by Clemson. And everybody's like, are you crazy? And I was like, look, Tua, 1 or 2 reads. That's it. This offense is simplified for him, but it's complex enough that other people don't know what's going on. I was like, Clemson can be able to take advantage of that. What happened? They did. Of course, they expanded on that, but when Mac Jones comes in to try to do the offense that's made for Tua, that's not going to work out, obviously, right? Now that he's got his offense, we're seeing him explode. It kind of hurts that the SEC's defenses are like traffic cones right now.
Yeah.
But
hey, they just put up 41 on Georgia's vaunted best defense in the country.
Well, I think maybe that's because they went up against Arkansas, Auburn. Think about this.
Yeah. Georgia's defense is consistently the most
overrated
overrated thing in football.
Yeah, I think they were a tad bit overrated.
Clemson's
but I still think
defense
they're
is
good.
better. I do think they're good as well.
I think Clemson's defense as a whole is better because it's more of a committee type deal. You don't necessarily – people from other fan bases are not going to look at Clemson and be able to name off all their guys. They won't be able to tell you who our starters on the D-line are. They probably won't be able to tell you who our starters in the secondary or at linebacker. But you know Ojulari. You know LeCount. You know Eric Stokes. You know all those guys on Georgia. You know what they can do.
Yeah, you can make an argument LeCount's the best safety in the country.
However, Clemson's defense as a whole, in my opinion, is better.
It's better. I agree. I think their defensive line is better, too. And just the emergence of Clemson's D-line this year has been
Now, Georgia's defensive line has graded better, but again, let's take into consideration
depth matters
going on. Now, Clemson can bring in multiple guys.
You can't just compare starter to starter. If you compare starter to starter, Georgia looks like rock stars.
Yeah, they do.
But we're seeing with Kirby Smart, and we actually had a comment on Facebook that said we're seeing Georgia's ceiling with Kirby, not really Setson. I have to kind of agree with that.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Georgia's an extremely limited team with Kirby Smart and the style of football they play.
And again, we're also, and this is something we talked about too, we wanted to see what Todd Monken was going to do with this Georgia offense. Of course, Georgia does throw the ball a little bit more than they usually do.
It's been boring.
But it's been boring. Honestly, if they run the ball with those young running backs, they actually might. They were running the ball on Alabama.
Yeah, they've got Zeus
They were
and Milton.
moving the ball.
Yeah.
But Stetson Bennett got into his head a little bit. This is why I don't think they're going to go to the national championship.
He made a couple tragic reads.
Well, and a lot of that is because he's nervous. The kid's like 5'9". I don't care if they say he's 5'11". He's not. He's like 5'9". He's throwing the ball, and Alabama's defensive linemen are getting their hands up, tipping passes, right? What that does to a quarterback, that gets in your head, and you're like, oh, man, I got to throw
a little higher.
Try to. You're not Patrick Mahomes, kid. He's trying to do all these things. He's trying to throw it quicker. His timing's off. They could have done some things to help him out, maybe dovetail when you're dropping your read, go back a little bit away from the pressure. Stuff like that can help him. Unfortunately, he's still going to be a short quarterback. He doesn't have the arm strength or anything. And remember, this kid has no experience in playing big-time football.
Nope.
He was at Georgia, transferred out, came back to Georgia, but for all intents and purposes, he was never supposed to play.
And it was funny to see the media brigade surrounding Stetson Bennett going
it's a
up to
feel-good
this game.
story.
It is.
Yeah,
and
it's a feel-good story.
He's got the mailman hat that he wore to the camp so he could get recruited, and they did the whole segment on him. And he's a walk-on, and everyone's like, Stetson's going to go? No, he's just not. There's a reason he was a walk-on, and there was a reason he wasn't ever supposed to be the starter.
That's right. But, folks, we're going to go ahead and talk a little bit about this game coming up this Saturday. We don't want to spend a whole lot of time on it. Clemson's going to be playing at home in Death Valley. This game is going to be, noon on ACC Network because nobody cares. They're going to be playing Syracuse, 1-4 team, coming down from New York. The team that gives Clemson the scare. The over-under on this is 61.5, with Clemson being favored at 45.5. Syracuse just got waxed by Liberty. And look, let me caveat. Time out. Liberty is a good football team.
No, Liberty.
They're undefeated.
They're significantly better than Syracuse.
Yes, and Hugh Freeze actually has something going on there. He has a lot of guys that are coming in, some transfers from other schools. Quarterback's supposed to be at Virginia Tech. Running back was amazing in this. Running backs in general for Liberty are great. You're not supposed to lose to Liberty. You're not.
No, it's. Yeah.
And in other years, I know people get a little nervous because it's like, remember last time, 2017, Clemson got beat by them and they ended up going to the the playoffs and blah, blah, blah. Let me say something here, and I might make Clemson fans a little mad. I don't think Clemson was elite in 2017. I don't. Well, I think they were a little handicapped.
Listen,
with Kelly Bryant.
I've said this for the longest time. Kelly Bryant is the worst quarterback to play at Clemson in the last decade, and people will say, listen,
Cole Stout.
When you look at, okay, well, are we considering he was never the starter for a full year though?
No, but.
And
I guess
also,
you're right.
Cole Stout against Oklahoma had a better game than Kelly Bryant ever had.
Because they allowed Cole
jersey.
Stout to, just like Mac Jones, they made the offense be centered around Cole Stout's abilities for the game. People forget that Cole Stout was one of the he was like top 3 pocket passers coming out in his year. I mean, the guy could have gone anywhere.
Yeah.
But when you go to Clemson, when they wanted a dynamic offense,
he gets a bad rap.
Chad Morris.
He gets a bad rap.
He gets a really bad rap. I don't think he was a terrible quarterback. I think he was a bad quarterback in Clemson's system.
I mean, you're asking him to run this RPO,
it's
play action, and roll him out. That's not
Again,
who he
Deshaun
is.
Watson was jumping over people with torn ACLs that year. We know what kind of talent level he had. It was a huge gap.
But back to that, if you look at that 2017 playoff game against Alabama, the defense really gave up like 15 points.
They did, but I think it was because the
that.
offense was not moving. They were also okay.
I'm convinced that if Clemson could have actually kept them off the field, they could have given up less than 10 points in that game.
But, okay,
the defense was so good in 2017.
I was going to say, good point, because one of the key factors of me saying this is that I thought that while Kelly Bryant kind of did handicap Clemson's offense a little bit, I still think that they were driving to score to take the lead. ETN misses a block. You already had T. Higgins go down with an injury. It's one of those things where you don't really have the weapons that you are. Deion Kane was your number one receiver. Ray, right?
Don't disrespect Ray. He's playing on Sundays.
Is he?
He is.
How much?
He gets punt returns.
All right, get out of here.
He gets a gadget
seriously,
play.
If they go and take that lead, I think the defense would have been good enough to work with them. And remember, we were still playing the Jalen Hurts Alabama.
By the way, underrated Alabama player.
Well, very underrated Alabama player. But if Tua was playing in that game, it might have been a little bit different.
Oh, yeah.
But I think that year, given the injury to Kelly Bryant before, him not being quite ready, he falls, his head's all out of whack. You bring in Zarek Cooper, we can't make a field goal. Defense is like, what's going on? Because we've never seen a team play backyard football against us like Eric Dungy and the offense did.
We inexplicably bring in Hunter Johnson for a drive.
And we're like...
We throw off every amount of... Zarek Cooper drives the team down the field 2 drives in a row, and we're just like, nope, it's not his... It's Zarek's fault. It's not the kicker's fault.
Exactly.
Get him out of there.
So that year would have made me feel a little weird about, because it was like, man, Clemson... They were number 1 team. You go down to Syracuse. That's not happening this weekend.
No, there's a
by all means, it's not happening. First and foremost, Syracuse, the biggest deficiency is the run game. They cannot stop the run for anyone. Duke made them look terrible. Then they turned around and got ran all over, roughshod by Liberty. Now, you're talking about Travis Etienne, the most electric player in the country. Behind him, literally – guys like Lin J, which Lin J didn't have the best game against Georgia Tech, but it's fine. Lin J, Ches Malusi, who's starting to come into his own. Kobe Pace, who looks like a monster right now, which is ironic because everybody was so sad about Bowman going. And yes, it sucks that DeMarcus Bowman's gone, but Kobe Pace, that's a gem. We hit on that one.
Kobe Pace looks really good. We got Rencher. We got Rencher Dixon.
That's what I'm saying.
There's
You
tons
could
of running back
literally
depth
put
on this
in
team.
Sylvester Mayers.
Yeah.
The 4-ouncer pouncer. The guy is 5'7", 150 pounds. He will run all over Syracuse.
And people forget, Clemson's adding another 5-star running back next year, the next CMC.
And a 4-star.
Yeah.
So you're going to get Will Shipley and Phil Maffa. So at this point.
And would I be out of place to say that I think Shipley comes in and gets the job day 1? I really do.
Gets what job?
The running back, he's going to be the running
Starter?
back 1. Yeah. I really think Shipley will win the job.
No.
Yes.
I don't think so. I think he'll play a lot.
He's too valuable out of the receiving game as well to not have him on the field a
But
lot.
you absolutely...
Even if he's not the official starter, he will get
He'll get
snaps.
starter reps. Yeah, he'll get starter reps. I mean, and people will understand. The reason why I completely agree with that is because Darian Rencher is getting a lot of reps in games. But he's not going to start just because, again, Tony Elliott is notorious for not starting running backs that are young because of blocking and assignments and this and that. I understand it. Now, if a running back comes in and he's already ready, he's been in that Clemson system, he's probably going to play a lot. But you got to remember, Travis Etienne was like 4th string at Clemson when he first started. Though we knew
he was behind Tavian Feaster.
He was behind C.J. Fuller.
Yeah.
So it's one of those deals where I kind of agree with you. He's going to play a lot, but I don't think he's going to take the starting spot at all.
So who are you viewing?
Probably going to be Lin J.
You think Lin J?
I think Lin J will, because he will
running
be
back.
Lin J will be a 3-year player at that point.
And I'm surprised he stayed.
Well, I think he was kind of too late. I think it was one of those deals where Travis Etienne came back and it was just like, well, now I'm the starter. And like, dang it. Well, I might as well stay. Get a national championship. Where was he going to go?
I know Lin J is great. I'm not overly enthused at the idea of having him as the starting running back next year with DJ's first start at QB going to be coming against UGA early in the season. That's concerning.
I'm not necessarily concerned with that because they're going to lose a lot of guys to the NFL this year.
They are, but so do we.
And remember, we already talked about the draft depth. Well, who?
We lose the starting QB and the running back.
To me, that'll be fine because you're going to get another 5-star.
To be fair, the O-line is young. You're
Yes.
only going to. Can Carmen come out this year?
He can, but he's not.
You think
He's
Carmen's
not
going to
come
stay?
out because the first guy's going to be taken off the board is Penei Sewell.
Yeah,
without a doubt.
And they might go top 3.
He might go top 4.
Yeah,
I don't know if he goes top 3.
Well, because it depends on who gets the top 3 picks. Because if you get a quarterback team drafting up there, then they're obviously going to take Fields and Lawrence.
That's right.
But if you get a team in that top 3 that doesn't need a quarterback, Penei is the obvious choice.
Exactly. And you're not going to, if you're a tackle, you don't want to make yourself, especially because tackles, we know the NFL loves their linemen when they draft them. We want guys to get early, be drafted early. If you know that it's going to be a quarterback draft, because the first 2 or 3 are going to be quarterback, and we know that a couple of linemen, a couple of defensive players are going to be in there. If I'm Jackson Carmen, I stay again.
Yeah.
You just want to stay because then you can boost. If you're a quarterback and you have great stats, Trevor Lawrence coming back makes 0 sense. If you're Jackson Carman coming back, it makes a lot of sense. And we've seen that with Tristan Wirfs, guys like that who've come back and they've ended up making a lot of money.
Yeah.
Folks, I have a question for you. Obviously, the line is 45.5. In fact, I'm going to ask you too. YouTube, if you're out there watching, let us know. What is a realistic score? I'm not worried about Syracuse. I don't care what they score because Syracuse could score, in my opinion, 31 and still get beat by 45. But what is the realistic? And I'm going to go ahead and give mine. I think the floor of what Clemson can score in this game, without a doubt, is 50.
50, yeah.
It's 50. And it's not because I'm going, oh, well, look, we beat Georgia Tech by that much. I'm literally going based off the fact that they don't have an answer at running game. So if they sell out to stop the run, what are they going to do, literally, about Trevor Lawrence being a even better quarterback than he was last year?
Listen, I came on here and I predicted 63-14 for Clemson, Georgia Tech. And I texted you about halfway through the game, and I was like, I undershot with 63.
Yes. Yeah,
and
without a doubt.
And I think Clemson can easily replicate their 73-7 performance. It's just it honestly depends on how classy Dabo is feeling on the particular
I don't even know
day.
that it's not as classiness because normally after Dabo looked just jovial after that game, and I know it's because it's Georgia Tech, and there's something between us and Georgia. I don't know what it is, but he looked like he was just like, yeah, we want to do it. And honestly, you want to get that depth built. We can't help that our fourth strings are scoring that many points. We can't. No one saw Hunter Helms throwing 2 touchdown passes.
Hey,
nobody.
He might have just won himself the QB3 job.
Hunter Helms? You give me Hunter Helms over Stetson Bennett.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm
hey, listen, all I'm saying,
hey, man,
Will Spires had a better completion percentage than Stetson Bennett.
He did. Even though he only threw 3 passes, but but at the same time,
context isn't needed. Will Spires is QB1.
Right? Folks, if you're watching over there, please like and subscribe to the show. Get that notification bell as well. We need you guys. We're trying to grow this YouTube. Spread the word about us if you like what you're doing. Again, don't subscribe to us if you don't like it. Of course, we got a lot of Clemson content out there, a lot of college football out there that you guys can be watching. But you're right here with me tonight, so I appreciate you, and I appreciate everything that you guys do. And same for you over on Facebook. I'm going to go ahead and say I think Clemson's going to score 63 points. And I think that Syracuse, and let's consider this too, they're not playing with Tommy DeVito. Of course, Rex Culpepper has had a couple games under his back. He looks like a Aldi version of Trevor Lawrence. He's got long hair. Their running backs are pretty good. I mean, they've got some guys that can play ball.
Their offenses still look tragic against every team par Liberty.
Not necessarily.
Look, that UNC game was one of the worst offensive shows
but that was also DeVito.
DeVito's bad, and so is Culpepper.
But Culpepper, I can argue that is probably worse because he has no experience.
He is.
He has no experience, though. I get it.
Listen,
but
Dino's
at the same time,
Dino's going out the door anyways.
Okay, good point. I'm glad you mentioned that. And if you're a Syracuse fan and you watch this, I am sorry, man. But if you guys get run out of the building, there is a good chance that you guys would be looking for a new head coach going forward.
Hey, we called this before the season.
We did.
We said that like Dino Babers looked like the sexy hire to all these top Power 5 schools. Just 2-3 years ago, after the Clemson upset, Dino Babers was on top of the world.
Yeah, he was.
In the coaching world where they're like, oh, is he going to go down to FSU? Oh, is he going to get the Tennessee job?
Yeah.
And now Syracuse is back in the pits. And we said that if they underperform this year and win sub 4 or 5 games, we think Dino would get fired. And if Clemson goes and wins by 60 points or something, I think he might get fired this week.
Yeah, he looks. The players, they look dejected.
They don't look like they want to play for him anymore, that's always been his thing.
Yeah, after the game, he just looked dejected. And I've said this. I've been a huge proponent of saying this. Do I think that Eric Dungey was a great quarterback, an elite quarterback? No. I don't think he was. Was Eric Dungey the most gutsiest, the most charismatic, his persona was just amazing, and the team took over that. He's the only guy, and I mentioned this in Twitter. If you guys follow me on Twitter, you probably saw this. He literally is the only guy at quarterback that I've seen in my Clemson history, and this is spanning a very, very long time, that stood up to Christian Wilkins, Cleveland Ferrell, Dexter Lawrence, and literally
Yeah.
all of the other players there, of course, everybody, but those guys were the one that was mainly after him, right? Even XT, and was not scared. He was talking junk back to them.
He's a winner.
He was everything, the heart and soul of that team. When he's left, they were just done. And Tommy DeVito didn't have any experience, and Culpepper doesn't either.
And they deemed DeVito as that next guy that was supposed to take that role.
You're supposed to.
You have to do that. It was just like Deshaun
to.
Watson tweeting Kelly Bryant's going to be even better than me.
Yeah, we knew that was not true. But I think that game is going to be 63 probably.
I'm going to say 71-10.
I like that. Was 71? You like
71.
Weird odd numbers, huh?
Yeah, we're gonna get 63. Kick, maybe get a safety in there, get a couple field goals.
I wouldn't doubt it.
There's a path to 71.
I wouldn't doubt it. Yeah, I think something like that too. I can definitely see Clemson getting into the 70s again, but I think it's gonna take everything from Syracuse to keep them from doing that. Like I said, Clemson's gonna be playing the backups probably by mid-third.
I would guess we maybe see Trevor for that, the touted one series after the half. He comes out for one series, they score a touchdown.
2020 has been weird. If the universe happens that they are somehow giving us a run for our money for a little bit, and we might see Trevor a little bit.
Hey, listen, all I'm saying
is I'm not saying it can't happen.
I would not be opposed to them keeping the game interesting enough to where Trevor can get those stats up. We got to remember, we're playing for a Heisman as well. Got to run up the numbers a little bit. Get Trevor 5 TDs again.
Speaking of this, hold on. Braxton Matthews on YouTube says, this is a comment of the day. I'm going to pin this when this is done. He says, 3-way tie between Lawrence, Etienne, and Spires for Heisman. Will Spires out there throwing darts, man. That's what I'm talking about. But yeah, I think right now, the realistic thing, I think Clemson's going to probably get that spread or close to it.
Listen, I'm going to be watching this game, like I said, for the numbers.
Yeah.
Trevor's got to – this would be a huge deal for the university as a whole. And I know, you're focused on the team as a bigger goal, but this would be a really big deal if Trevor Lawrence can continue to go on this Heisman campaign and end up winning the trophy.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Folks, we're going to move along to some other ACC stuff. We're going to talk about college football around the country. We want to just do Clemson stuff, too. So get in the comments again. Let us know your opinions. We want to have fun with you guys tonight. But we're going to move on to another noon game. We're going to talk about Florida State coming off the big win over the elite North Carolina, number 5 team in the country. They're playing Louisville, up in Louisville. So they're at Cardinal Stadium. The over-under is 61. Louisville is favored by 5. That's odd considering Louisville just, has not looked good.
Louisville might be the most disappointing offense I've ever seen.
But here's the thing.
They have so much talent on that team, and they consistently underperform on offense.
Do you think that the reason why the spread is so close on this game is because they think these teams are comparable, or is it because Notre Dame literally got taken to the wire by Louisville?
No, I think it's because Notre Dame got taken to the wire.
That's literally why I would think. Because otherwise,
listen,
if North Carolina is as elite as everybody said they were,
yeah,
because
I might pick Florida State to win this.
They would.
I seriously
think Florida State could do it. Look, I still think Florida State is trash.
I do too,
but playing with Jordan Travis, they kind of remind me of Stetson Bennett in Georgia. They're going to be handicapped because Jordan Travis is not that great of a passer. We know that. He might actually be worse than Derek King. However, he is an ultimate athlete. He can move. And if Florida State didn't start him, if they would have started him earlier in the season, now he had some injury issues.
I see a lot of Tyson Pumachan and Jordan Travis.
Okay, I'm glad you said that because Tyson's very active. He can move. He's a quick twitch guy. I feel like Tyson might be a little bit more accurate than Jordan Travis.
Yeah.
Remember, Jordan Travis, this is a revenge game. He transferred from
Louisville, yeah.
Because he lost out to Mikhail Cunningham, which is odd.
But Mikhail hasn't been good this year, but I see why he won the job last year. Louisville, did they go 8-5 last year?
Yeah, I think
and then
they
this
did.
year it's just like what? It's like what happened?
Yeah, they're 1-4 right now. I think if we're best case scenario, first and foremost, if you're a Florida State fan, you see James Blackman warming up, you get triggered. You're like, I don't want to watch this game. No. But if they would have started Jordan Travis sooner, I think they might have gotten an extra win or so. Jordan Travis has reinvigorated this Florida State team. Now, Florida State last week with North Carolina was a Jekyll and Hyde team in the first and second half. First half, they looked like North Carolina. North Carolina looked like Florida State. Then it flipped in the second half. They didn't score a single point, But that game actually could have been worse than it was.
UNC
Actually, they could have went away with Florida.
UNC should have won that game at the end with the drops, but they also put
But
themselves
Florida State could have also blown them out.
They put themselves in such a bad position that if Florida State would have come out and scored to start the second half, they would have thrown in the towel. They would have been down 37-7.
Yeah.
So
and so at this point, I feel like Florida State's playing better. I think they're playing better for Coach Norvell. I think it actually clicked with them that they need to grow up. I still think the culture is smelly down there.
Yeah.
It's funny. Another funny thing about it is, that Mac Brown is actually a Florida State alum.
Yeah, that's weird to think about.
And he's never beaten Florida State as a coach.
That's a weird track record.
So, answer me this. All right. When Florida State fired Willie Taggart, guess who was in the booth still talking football? Mac Brown. Actually, no. This is before they even tried to go get Willie Taggart. They could have got Mac Brown.
They could have.
He's an alum.
I think this program would be at a completely different spot with Mac Brown.
Well, they would, because the culture would be different. And if maybe not, they may maybe
allure
still
Mac
not be
Brown
good.
brings to a program, it's just
Yeah.
he brings that allure with him that it makes it an admirable program. You see the recruits he's getting to Chapel Hill, they've never gotten recruits
Exactly.
like this.
Now, I think Florida State made a good decision with Coach Norvell. I think he's a young guy. He's going to be good for them transitioning.
Should have brought Brady White with him.
But he should have brought Brady. We talked about that.
Yeah.
Brady White going to Florida State, quarterback issues solved. They've got
really
good running backs in Webb, Corbin, Tuafolo, but
defense is smelly.
defense is awful.
Yeah.
But they were playing like they weren't in the first, because I feel like they were spirited. They got up for that game. That kind of scares me.
A lot of defense is just momentum.
That's true.
That's what a lot of defense. If
But
you
let me
can
ask you
string
a
together
question.
a couple stops, the momentum is just bringing you to where you feel confident that you can stop them.
Exactly.
But if you come out, you get scored on the first drive, it can pinball.
It makes you go to sleep. This is why I think that Clemson's going to put up 70-something points on series.
Yeah.
They're going to check out. But let me ask you a question. The highs of winning a game against the number five team in the country, you think that kind of boils into them traveling to Louisville and getting beat?
It might be a game where it's one of the, and it's not a letdown game because it's Florida State, but we see this all the time. Like, you'll go, you get this upset, and then the next week you come out and you just look like an absolutely tragic football team, and you're like, how did this team win against the number 5 team in the country?
Yep.
And I feel like that regression could come to Florida State, and I really don't know who'd pick in this game because I think it's
I
a
don't
genuine
either.
coin
And
toss.
with it being 5-point swing, you can't.
Louisville's favored by 5.
Yeah, Louisville's favorite. But they're the only reason why I say that is because they're playing in Cardinal Stadium.
Yeah.
That's it.
Are there fans at Louisville right now?
Yeah,
Do you know?
I think for the most part, most teams
Most
are
teams have
doing it
fans.
except Duke.
Yeah.
I don't think Wake's doing it yet. But for the most part, I think those schools are playing. I'm just going to go on gut feeling, though, and I feel like Florida State's going to lose this one.
Yeah.
Just because I feel like Florida State's riding the high, Louisville's riding the low of playing so well against Notre Dame that they want to try to prove it.
Man, that defense balled out.
Oh,
for
they
them.
played great. But then again, let's talk about this, too. Notre Dame. What weapons do they have outside of Kyron Williams at running
I've
back?
said this all year.
They have none.
I've said this all year.
Skowronek got hurt like in the first game.
People think this team can compete with
No,
Clemson,
they
by
can't.
the way.
They're not.
There's no way this team can
But
compete with
I'll
Clemson.
say this too. I don't necessarily know that North Carolina can either.
No, North Carolina can't hang with Clemson either.
Again, we talked about last episode, the gap being wide. I mean, there's a
It's
huge
It's
gap.
Clemson, Alabama, Ohio
Yeah.
State, and then there is a major gap.
A major
in-
gap. But yeah, I'm gonna go with Louisville with this. How you feel about it?
I'll take Louisville by
Take
a
Louisville.
score,
I-
but
same.
I would
wouldn't
not
even
be
say 10.
surprised to see Florida State kind of ride that high and beat.
What if this
Louisville.
is a shootout?
And I was going to say that. I think
It
that
could be
could
a shootout.
happen. But it's weird because how indicative is it on Notre Dame if the Louisville defense gets lit up this weekend at home by Florida State, but they went up there
That
and
would be
gave up 12
hilarious.
points?
That would be hilarious.
That's just really, that would be the pinnacle of Ian Book summed up into
Yeah, I'm
one.
tired of Ian Book. And it's funny because Phil Jerkovich, the guy who was behind him and who's now the Boston College quarterback, has better stats.
He's better. He's legitimately
at
better.
Boston College. I had a conversation with somebody on Twitter too about this. They're trying to tell me that Boston College doesn't have, because David Hale actually said this. He made the comparison between the two, and I made the point that, hey, maybe Phil Jerkovich might have better weapons than they do at wideout and tight end than Notre Dame right now. And everybody wanted to come at me, oh, how many players does Notre Dame have in the NFL right now? How many does Boston College?
I'm
I'm not talking about that. Right now,
Look at the actual
you have
roster.
Mayers and Trimble. That's it for you that can catch a pass. That's it.
Claypool to the NFL.
And there are tight ends. Hunter Long was literally is on the Mackey Award list. He has more yards receiving than almost everybody else. Now, I get it. Boston College has thrown the ball almost twice the amount as Notre Dame has at this point. But it's because Ian Book has no weapons.
It's also because
and he's not good.
Notre Dame's riding that offensive line. That offensive line is really good.
That's why their bread and butter has been the run game.
You're running that run game.
Why not, right?
Yeah. Why would you? You don't have a great quarterback that you can trust. You don't have a lot of weapons on the outside, so just run the ball.
Yep. Let's go ahead and talk about the team that actually lost the game to Florida State, the elite number 5 team in the country, North Carolina, that I try to tell people a lot of the reason why. Look, I'm seeing the progress, and I'm not trying to take away from what Mac Brown has done for North Carolina. I think he's put them on the right track culture-wise. Kids are actually going to class and not just playing with crayons in art class. They're actually going to class. They're graduating. They're recruiting good players, and the offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator are good. Not in this past game. I think I've said this too, that I think a lot of the reason why North Carolina gets so much hype is because of how they played against Clemson last year. They're still riding that high. This is why when the season started, everyone was saying, oh, North Carolina, it's going to be North Carolina Clemson. Oh, North Carolina's so good. Look, the difference between a good and an elite team is an elite team doesn't lose games like that. Look, Clemson lost to Syracuse, but at no point were they down 31-7 to Syracuse. That doesn't happen. Clemson hadn't lost to anybody like that, except Alabama and then LSU, 2 teams that won the national championship. That's different. Syracuse ain't winning the national championship. That 10-win season feels like it was like 80 years ago now. But I still think North Carolina is a really, really, really insanely good team, just not elite. And we saw that. They're going up against NC State, who's been resurgent as of late, but quarterback Devin Leary has broken his leg, so he's out.
North Carolina by 4 to 5 scores.
Well, here's the deal. Over under 61, North Carolina is favored by 17.
17, yeah.
Look, to me, this is a revenge game for losing last week.
I think they're going to blow them out.
They're going to, and like I said, there's NC State starting Bailey Hockman. He's not the guy. They have a 4-1 season. I'm telling you, I hate Dave Doran more than any other coach in college football. He makes excuses for everything. While if Devin Leary played this game,
will be this weekend.
But that's the thing. If North Carolina beats Florida State, I can see this actually, the mentality of it, those two getting together for supremacy of the state, because we know Duke is trash and Wake Forest couldn't beat either one of these schools. They didn't actually. So I think that game would have been closer. But because North Carolina lost and you lost Devin Leary, I feel like North Carolina's going to come out and put up 50-something points.
I agree.
And I don't know that they have enough skill position to make up for Bailey Hockman at quarterback at NC State. I like Emeka Emezie, but he's just not going to make it happen. The running backs are pretty good, but everything else at North Carolina offensively is even better. Both Brown boys. You still have both the running backs that are just ridiculous. And you have Sam Howell. I mean, he's a really good quarterback. There's zero chance that NC State hangs with North Carolina in this game.
Yeah, I think.
We might come back to this and be like, we were wrong, but
no,
I think North Carolina's going to run rabbit this week.
Backup QB, yeah. You would be 2-score underdogs anyways. It's in Chapel Hill, if I'm not mistaken.
It is in Chapel Hill.
This game's going to be a blowout. Mac Brown is just levels ahead of Dave Doran.
That game's over. Moving on, Notre Dame is traveling to Pittsburgh, Heinz Field.
This could be a close game. I'm just going to say that.
Over-unders 43.5. Notre Dame favored by 10.5.
Yeah.
That's going to be a low-scoring, trudgy game.
See, now, the odds makers know that Pitt has that potential to, luck box their way into a win.
Right. Now, the only problem is they're going to still be playing without Kenny Pickett. They're starting T.J. Yellen. I still think that Davis Bevel, Greenville High School product, should probably start playing now. If it's me and my quarterback's hurt for a substantial amount of time, I want to go with the young guy because Kenny Pickett's gone after this. You might as well go ahead and get the young guy in, the young talent. Now, Yellen didn't have a bad game against Miami. He didn't have a great game either. This is why I think I would probably start with it. 10 points, give me Notre Dame in this one for sure. But I think it's going to be like a 17-28 game.
Yeah, I'll take Notre Dame 24-10.
Something like that. Yeah, I don't see it being out of hand and I'm not discrediting Notre Dame. I still think Notre Dame has a great running game, and their defense is pretty good. And Pittsburgh right now is playing a little handicapped as well. So I'm going to go ahead and say, and plus both defenses are actually pretty good in this game.
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and say Notre Dame for sure. Give me that 10.5. And like I said, it's in Heinz Field. It is what it is. We're going to move along, though. We're going to talk about the last game in the ACC. It's an 8 o'clocker in Miami. The number 11 Miami Hurricanes, 4-1, are going to be going up against Virginia. The over-under is 58, and Miami is favored by 11.5. Give me all of that, maybe even more. And the reason why is because they are still not playing with Brennan Armstrong. He got hurt after Clemson, and I don't know what happened to him. He's not playing anymore. But Miami is starting to resurge a little bit. They looked good against Pittsburgh. That's what I wanted to see. We talked about that. I didn't want to, if you're a good team, you don't go in a shell because you lost to a team that's better than you. You're supposed to take your lumps, fix things, and go out and win. Yeah. They did that. They actually looked pretty good, and they're doing this without Brevin Jordan. They've got to shake up at receiver, though. Apparently, no receiver has a spot anymore. They're gonna shake up the entire thing. And then also, they probably need to do the same thing at linebacker. But I think right now, because it's in Hard Rock Stadium, and the fact that Virginia is kind of dealing with some issues at quarterback, they've been deflated a little bit. I think Miami wins this game.
Oh, yeah. I think I'm going to take Miami big, actually.
Yeah.
I think they win by 2 or 3 scores.
That's what I was going to say. I think 11.5, give me that. I would say 20 points.
Yeah.
Sounds realistic, honestly.
I'm going to take Miami 35-17.
Yeah, I like that because the fact that right now, again, Brennan Armstrong is still in concussion protocol for 3 weeks. I can't trust them to win a game without him right now. I'm going to go with Miami. But it's just funny to see, like, everybody, remember, was so low on Clemson because Clemson had a 18-point game with Virginia. Oh, Clemson's maybe not that good, and then that happened, so whatever. But we're going to move along to the SEC, and we're going to talk about a team that I like to make fun of because I predicted them to lose last week, and I'm happy about it. And that is the Auburn Tigers traveling down to Ole Miss. And we on the plains playing Lane Kiffin. The over-under is 70 points.
What?
With Auburn. Okay, Auburn's favored at 3.
Auburn's
over-under
offense
70.
is trash.
Okay, remember what I said last time because it's a toss-up. I said this with South Carolina. Them giving them only a 3-point cushion, to me, tells them that they don't think that there's much difference between the teams.
They're trying to bait people into betting that line.
I have a feeling because they haven't figured things out at quarterback at Auburn still. They don't know how to run the ball, Chad Morris. Their defense is overrated, and Gus Malzahn needs to be fired.
Gus Bus.
I think that Ole Miss gets back in the win column. I teased about this too. Which quarterback is going to throw the least amount of interceptions? That who win the game. If it's Matt Corral, he wins. If it's going to be Bo Nix, he wins. But I think Bo Nix probably gets benched if he has a bad game in this game. I think he gets benched somewhere at halftime if it's not working out. On the other hand, they could blow out Ole Miss. They could absolutely blow out Ole Miss. But 70 points as an over-under between these two teams are not happening unless Ole Miss blows out Auburn because Auburn's not scoring more than 30 points.
I'm going to commit the Cardinal sin again. And
what
it
are you
bit
doing?
me in the butt last week. I'm going to pick Auburn.
No, not happening, man.
I think Auburn's going to win this game. And just at some point, what happened to Bo Nix? I know he was never great.
He was never great.
He was never great, but he looked a lot better last year than he did this year.
His father was a legacy guy, and that's why they want to, boost him up a little bit. Yeah. And my opinion, you ruined the perfect quarterback for your situation, which was Joey Gatewood. You allowed him to go to Kentucky, a team that you will play. Terrible decision, in my opinion. But you have guys, you have Pate on the team, 4-star quarterback, threw a lot of touchdown passes, 7A football, so you know he can play football. You even have Kalen Moore, Kalen Newton, who is Cam Newton's little brother. He was at Howard. Great, phenomenal quarterback playing wide receiver. Put him in the quarterback room. Do what you did with Nick Marshall. Do what you did with Cam Newton. Do what you did with Gunnar Kyle, the quarterback in 2010. Just run the ball with your quarterback. Run the option, throw it, pass, do whatever. But right now, Bo Nix is not the answer. And until they change, I can't pick Auburn right now. You lose to South Carolina and Colin Hill. I can't do it. I can't. You literally got overmatched. Your defense got sunned multiple times. Shi Smith literally embarrassed the guy twice in the game. I just can't do it. I can't pick Ole Miss in this one. But They got to figure out something, and if they don't, then I think this might actually be the last year that Gus Malzahn is there. Why not fire him now? It's 2020. Do it, right? We're going to move along to another team that's a serial underachiever, and that is the Tennessee Volunteers taking on the Alabama Crimson Tide.
Remember when everyone called that Tennessee win for Georgia a quality win?
A quality win. Look, over under 66, Alabama's favorite by 21. Okay, here's the deal. Jarrett Garantano, I don't think he's a good quarterback. I don't think he's a bad quarterback. The problem is not Jarrett Garantano. If you're a Tennessee fan, the problem is not Jarrett Garantano, and I'm going to tell you what the problem is. 1, Jim Chaney. 2, Chris Winkie, quarterback coach. Chris Winke's a legendary quarterback for Florida State, won a championship, should have actually won the national championship twice, but T. Martin took it away from him. That little Florida State, it's not that. First and foremost, I don't remember the last great quarterback at Tennessee. And don't say Josh Dobbs, because he was not a great quarterback. Yeah, it wasn't Justin Worley.
He's riding away on a bench right now
it wasn't Worley. It wasn't Bray.
Peyton.
It's T. Martin. He's the only one to win a championship out of the last 30 years from him. But it has to be T. Martin, which is actually Amari Rogers' father, which is awesome. But they've never had great quarterbacks at Tennessee. Maybe Casey Clausen. I don't know. They've never had great. Oh, Eric Ainge. He had two 9+ win seasons, but he's also playing half the year on pain meds. He was like addict. Whatever. We're not gonna talk about that. Anyway, the biggest point is that you are handicapping your quarterbacks by giving them terrible plays. You have running backs. Eric Gray is going to be a fantastic running back in the future if you hand him the ball. I feel the same about Auburn with Tank Bigsby. Hand him the ball. Everybody wants to rag on Jarrett Garantano. He threw 2 pick sixes. Yes, that's embarrassing. But then you put in JT Shrout, and he immediately threw interception.
What happened to Brian Maurer?
He still has concussion stuff, and he's had some COVID stuff going on. So he's still trying. He's kind of like XT, trying to get back from the COVID stuff.
Yeah.
Plus, he has some other issues that we want to talk about. And I hope he gets better. I like Brian Maurer, but
he's a good player.
He's not able to go right now.
Yeah.
To me, I'm sitting Jarrett Garantano. I'm thanking you for coming back. I'm saying JT Shrout, transfer. And I'm saying Harrison Bailey, you are my quarterback. Go forward. Bailey.
You're suggesting they put in Harrison now.
I am suggesting they put in Harrison Bailey because you are obviously not an elite team right now.
Marietta High School, yeah.
Go ahead and put him in, get him experience for the future because he is your future. I'm not worried about Jarrett Garantano because he's just going to get down on himself through 2 pick sixes, whatever. I'll tell you another thing. Maybe we criminally underrated Kentucky's defense. They're good.
No, they're really good.
They're really good. And if that offense can get it together with Terry Wilson, they might actually be pretty. Mark Stoops is an underrated coach in the SEC. He just coaches at Kentucky. Nobody wants to give Kentucky an issue. Kentucky's one of the top 15 rushing teams in the country. If they can figure things out with that defense, they might be decent, especially in a COVID year. But Tennessee is not good. And Alabama, we already gushed on Alabama earlier. Alabama's going to come into this game, and it's going to be nothing like it was last year, and they're going to put up 50 points on Tennessee.
Hey,
it is what
I'm
it
licking
is.
my chops at this because my Mac Jones propaganda is just
You want Mac Jones to win the Heisman, don't you?
It's just going. Listen, if Trevor can't win it for whatever reason, give me Mac Jones. He's going to put up 5 touchdowns and 400 yards this week. Tennessee's defense got 40 hung on them by Stetson Bennett, and we saw what just happened with him. So this is going to be a 55-21 maybe type game.
I don't know that they score 21 points, not in the Jim Chaney offense.
It's weird because Tennessee, if you remember last year, Tennessee actually hung with Alabama for whatever
they
reason.
did, but guess who was playing quarterback?
It was Jarrett Garantano.
No,
he came into the game. Maurer played for the first quarter and a half. Then Garantano came in, and they had a chance to tie the game, and he fumbled on the one, and they took it back all the way.
That's right. So that's what I'm saying.
Because Maurer got injured mid-game.
Yeah, he got flipped over his head.
Yeah, I remember
concussion, all that bad stuff. And he's had concussion issues, so I'm worrying about his future. But this is a runaway. I think Alabama's going to beat them really bad. Let's talk about the
national
I love ragging on this team. Let's talk about The reigning national champions, LSU Tigers, having the South Carolina Gamecocks travel down and play them. The over-under is 57 with LSU favored at 7. That should tell you a little bit about how they feel about them.
Hold on. Have you seen the reports coming out of the LSU camp this week?
What's happening?
Miles Brennan is doubtful.
Oh, my gosh. I was going to go into this not picking South Carolina because I hate them.
I think Carolina's going to win.
See, I feel like I got to do the opposite because last week that was the one time I'll pick South Carolina to win. But yeah, and that's true because they're two true freshmen. Max Johnson's probably going to get the start now.
They're building momentum.
Oh my gosh.
The defense didn't look bad last week.
That's bad. And
Colin Hill's game managing.
LSU's defense is tragically bad. They had 500 plus. They had 600. What was it? 623 for KJ Costello.
Yeah.
And
sucks.
A freshman quarterback at Missouri put up 545. So Colin Hill's been playing decent football. I hate South Carolina can lose every single game from now to the end of existence, and I would be happy. I hope they lose by 8,000. I hope they literally extend Will Muschamp for the longest time because he beat Auburn, because we can always own Will Muschamp. But they're playing in Baton Rouge. I don't know that I can.
I think South Carolina's going to win.
I don't know that I could do that, man. But I will say, I'll give you this. They're playing a true freshman quarterback.
Yeah.
If
Brennan
can't go.
Let me say this. If Brennan plays, I think LSU wins. If Brennan doesn't play, I think South Carolina wins.
Regardless, I don't think that over-under is accurate.
No, it's going to be higher than that.
Yeah, because I think South Carolina is going to put up at least 28 points on them.
I agree.
I think South Carolina's offense is better than than they think. But I also think LSU's defense is tragically bad.
You got to think, if South Carolina put up 30 points last week, Auburn's defense is good, not great. There's still a major disparity between the LSU and the Auburn defense.
They literally have punching bags for defensive players.
Yeah,
and Bo Pelini is in over his head. I mean,
it's Derek Stingley, and that's it.
That's literally it.
Bo Pelini should have got out and got a job elsewhere while he had the chance.
I can't do it. I can't pick South Carolina, even though I want to.
I'm taking the dual approach. If Brennan plays, LSU wins. If Brennan doesn't play,
you got qualifiers.
Yeah.
All right, I'll go with that.
Because he's currently listed as
a
a game time decision and doubtful. I don't know how to interpret that.
Yeah, we'll.
It could go either way.
I might have to go with South Carolina again.
Yeah.
I might have to.
If Brennan
Actually,
doesn't
you know
play,
what? Screw LSU. Yes, South Carolina is winning the game again.
Yeah.
They're going to do it. Colin Hill for Heisman. He's the Walmart version of Trevor Lawrence. All right, folks, we're going to move over to the conference that I've been excited to talk about for months because they were scared to play, and then they realized, hey, we're not going to get the chance to play Clemson, so why not go ahead and play again? It is the Big Ten. Whoa! Big Ten! Actually, it should just be Ohio State because nobody's going to beat them. They're going to start playing this weekend. We got some big games coming up, obviously, noon game. Nebraska was the most pivotal team to get the players really dug in. They got their toes into this, their claws into it. I know Justin Fields had a lot to do with it by doing like the northern version of we want to play, but it was really Nebraska just getting on everybody's nerves, and Kevin Warren finally just said, okay, whatever. So they're going to play. In return, they said, you're going to play the best team, not named Clemson, in the country, game one. They're going to be playing Ohio State. The over-under is 67 with Ohio State favored by 26. Now, Adrian Martinez gets the start again for Nebraska. Remember, he was on the Heisman list last year. I don't know how that happened, but he was. Okay? What is a realistic score? I have no idea. If Ohio State comes out and they have been preparing like we think they have and they've had all this time, there is zero chance they don't score 60 or 70 points in this game.
This is going to be a massacre.
It is going to be really bad. And look, Scott Frost, hats off to you, man. Like I said, you and your players, y'all led the charge. Scott Frost was like, man, we'll go play in the SEC. We don't care. We'll play group of five as long as we can play football. But now you got dealt a bad hand.
I feel bad for Scott Frost because, number one, I think he's a good coach. And
he should have stayed at UCF.
I wouldn't have touched that Nebraska job with a 10-foot pole.
He should have. I know he wanted to go back home.
And when he's inevitably scapegoated and fired, whoever the next candidates are, I would not touch that job with a 10-foot pole.
Not even close. Not even close. But honestly,
I'm going to take Ohio State by 40 or 50.
I would too. Now, if by some reason We know Ohio State will drop. Drew, I love you, man.
They drop a stinker a year.
They will drop a dumb game every year. However, I don't see Nebraska even having the chance to sniff.
It might
the
be a
field.
crippled Penn State team down the road.
Now,
a team like Minnesota. It's not going to be Nebraska. Nebraska doesn't have the guns. They don't have the players to keep up.
And that 67 over-under, the over-under is actually the amount of points that Ohio State will score. So, no, I don't think that's accurate at all. Unless they know something we don't. Maybe Justin Fields is hurt or Trey Sermon's hurt or something. I don't know. But there's zero chance. They have no chance to stop at Garrett or Chris or any of those other receivers out there. They have zero chance of stopping him. And plus the tight ends at Ohio State, they have no chance of stopping him. There's zero chance. So I'm going to go with Ohio State with this one. Big, big, big. Let's go to a 3:30 game. Penn State's going to start the season against Indiana. They're traveling up to Bloomington. The over-under is 58.5 with Penn State by 6.5. And there's a reason for that because Journey Brown apparently is going to have to opt out. I don't know why. You already know that Micah Parsons, the best linebacker in the country, has opted out. I really like them. I like Sean Clifford. But if he doesn't have a running game, now they have some other good running, but Noah Cain is actually there too, so he's pretty good. He's not Journey Brown.
No.
Journey Brown wasn't even Miles Sanders. So, and you know that.
Miles Sanders is hurt again, by the way.
I don't know if Michael Penix is playing this game.
Is he?
I don't know if he's actually going to play because if he's playing for Indiana, Tom Allen has done a really good job with that team, and I think there's a chance that they could upset Penn State. Again, the spread, the line is 6.5.
Good football the last couple of years,
and they've given Ohio State a lot of run for their money.
They're on the rise.
6.5 to me tells me that they don't have a lot of confidence in Penn State. I'm going to go.
It also tells me it's just
Indiana.
A question. You're picking Indiana.
I'm picking Indiana in this one.
Okay.
Just because it's game one, you're trying to put the pieces together, filling out what's going on. I'm going to have to go with Indiana because I feel like they have the best chance of an upset. Well, I guess Minnesota could upset Michigan. We'll talk about that, but
I'll take Penn State.
You taking Penn State? It's a 6.5 game. I wouldn't be surprised if
I'll take Penn State.
I would not be surprised if Penn State.
I don't think it's going to be a convincing one.
No.
I'll tell you that. But
no, I don't think so
I think they'll get it done.
And think about this too. Penn State's secondary got exposed by Tanner Morgan last year in Minnesota. So I don't know.
Remember when Penn State was ranked above Clemson last year?
Yeah. Does anybody remember that? That was a mistake.
Clemson went as number 1 preseason and went undefeated and dropped to 5.
Which they're not going to happen this year because I think everybody sees there is literally no deficiencies in Clemson. You can't even say the special teams is bad because Will Spires is playing pretty good and B.T. Potter outside of the blocks have been accurate on his kicks.
It's not his fault.
So
kick gets blocked. That's not.
Yeah. So I can't see any deficiencies, but I'm going to go with that one. Let's talk about the big game. The one that I guess that matters.
Yeah.
Michigan and Minnesota. This is literally only ranked versus ranked game.
I'm taking Minnesota. I'll just say that right now.
Look, it's the over/under is 54.5 with Michigan favored by 3.5. They're traveling to Minneapolis.
Yeah.
No,
Minnesota.
I am not. I will never pick Michigan to win any game. I hope Jim Harbaugh gets beat by 80 points.
Is Shea still the QB?
Yeah. No. I think it's actually going to be Joe Milton. So Joe Milton's got the job because Shea's gone. He didn't get drafted in the NFL. You got Joe Milton, and it was going to be between him and McCaffrey. I think McCaffrey left.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. So now you've got Joe Milton being your guy. They still have some decent running backs at Michigan. Their O-line is subpar.
I will never pick them.
I think one of the best receivers ended up opting out. I can't pick Michigan. I literally can't. Don Brown is still there somehow coaching defense. I don't think it matters. I think P.J. Fleck is going to win this game. Again, 3.5 at your home. They have no confidence in you. This is between number 21 team in Minnesota and 18 in Michigan. For some reason, Michigan's always criminally overrated every single year. Mm-hmm. There is zero chance that I think that Minnesota loses this game at home, especially a team on the rise. They have the better quarterback. They have the better running back. If Rashad Bateman didn't go to the NFL, they would have the better receiving core. I still think they have the better receiving core, even with Rashad Bateman gone. They have a pretty good defense, too. It sucks that Winfield went to the NFL, but they still have a really good defense.
He's really good.
I am picking Minnesota to win this game for sure.
You're going to take Minnesota?
Yeah. I can't stand Michigan.
Loser
Where's
program.
maize as
Perennial
a color?
loser program.
Blue and maize. That's the dumbest color combination ever. And then one last one we'll talk about just because it's fun. Maryland at Northwestern. Over under is 55. Northwestern is favored by 11. Now, Mike Locksley has said he's not going to name the quarterback. We all know it's going to be Josh. It doesn't matter. But I don't know who starts at Northwestern.
How's Tulanga Tagovailoa doing at Maryland?
That's what I'm saying. It's not going to be Tua's brother.
Yeah.
It's not going to be Talia. It's not going to be him. I think it's still going to be Josh Jackson, transfer from Virginia Tech. It's because he has more experience and he's honestly probably more talented.
And who's the 5-star they have? The LSU commit?
Lance Legendre.
Yeah.
He was supposed to be LSU. He was supposed to be Florida State. Another flub up from Florida State.
Yep.
I think it's Lance Legendre. Out from LSU area.
Yeah.
I don't know who starts, but I have a good feeling it's going to be Josh Jackson. Northwestern, I have no idea either. It's supposed to be Aiden Smith already opted out. It didn't matter because he wasn't going to start anyway. But you have Peyton Ramsey, transfer from Indiana,
yeah.
And you have Hunter Johnson.
Listen, I always root for former Tigers, but Hunter looked so bad last year.
I'm not taking that with a 10-foot pole.
No.
If you were to ask me who I would pick right this moment, it is Peyton Ramsey without a doubt.
Yeah, he looked good last year.
He was actually really good. He filled in. I mean, of course, he was playing with Michael Penix.
I think Penix Jr. is better, but
Peyton Ramsey's got that arm. He can run. I'm not saying Hunter Johnson's not good, and I appreciate him from coming to Clemson, but he looked terrible in his first year at Northwestern. He got benched like 3 times. They were playing quarterback carousel.
He should have gone to Purdue. Why didn't he just go to Purdue?
Or he should have just went anywhere else.
Yeah, why would you go to Northwestern?
Well, he's from Indiana, so it's a home.
Go to Purdue. Purdue's in Indiana.
I know, but at the time,
he should have gone to Purdue.
Well, yeah, because he would have had Brom.
He could have had Rondale and David Bell. And
they would have had Brom as a coach and probably helped him better. Yeah. And I like Pat Fitzgerald. He's won Coach of the Year before. But
I think Maryland has a chance to win.
Maryland wins this game. I feel like this is going to be one of those games where you remember Maryland beat up Syracuse really bad last year, and everybody thought Maryland was good until they played Alabama, and they got beat by like 8,000.
They got beat like 73 to.
I think what's going to end up happening is Maryland's going to run the score up on Northwestern, and everybody's going to go Maryland, Mike Locksley, and
might get a big game from Raheem Jarrett.
Maybe. You know they lost all their running backs too, McFarland.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what Maryland's going to look like, and they still have Shaq Smith, Clemson transfer.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I can't. I'm hesitant to pick that game. I don't even know why I picked that. We're going to do just a couple more, folks, and we'll get you out of here. Thanks for joining us. Again, we appreciate you guys. Please don't forget to hit that notification bell if you're on YouTube. We need that. We want you to go. We go live every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. We're going to be putting some clips up from this, too, so get in there. Thanks for guys being in the conversation as well. Let's talk about some Big 12 stuff, just because I guess we have to. We're only going to talk about a few games in this one because I don't care about the Big 12.
I'm assuming Iowa State, Oklahoma State.
Iowa State, Oklahoma is probably the headliner game.
Yeah. I think I think Iowa State's going to win.
I have a feeling that they might. And again, we keep talking about this. The over-under in this game is 52. The spread, the line is 3.5. Oklahoma State.
Over.
I'm taking the over in this game just because both teams.
It's the Big 12.
Again, they're still playing with a young quarterback at Oklahoma State, and Chuba Hubbard has been disappointing.
It's been terrible.
But we all know about Chuba Purdy, what he has. I'm going to have to go Iowa State, too. Now, this would be an upset because, again, Oklahoma State's undefeated.
Yeah.
Iowa State had that loss early in the year.
Iowa State would be getting playoff buzz if they didn't drop that stupid game to Lafayette.
Right. And then I don't understand that one either. But this game is playing in T. Boone Pickens Stadium. It's in Stillwater. I don't even know why I said that because they almost got beat by Tulsa in Stillwater. So let me get that. Let me walk that one back. But at the same time, I think Oklahoma State does have the more veteran team. I think the more talented team comes from Ames. So I'm going to have to say Iowa State probably wins this game. And again, we talk about this this line stuff. If you're 3.5 as a home team.
It can go at either way.
And you're the top 6 team in the country.
That just sees that
they have no
Vegas views it as a toss-up if it's played on a neutral field.
I think, again, Matt Campbell is a good coach. I know that they didn't beat Louisiana Lafayette. I think
I'm upset.
I think Billy Napier has surprised a lot of people, and a lot of the G5 schools have actually surprised people this year. So I'm gonna give them a break on that loss.
Yeah.
They did get beat pretty handily,
It's no
though.
spring practice. That's literally what it was.
Yeah, and they didn't have any special teams in this game. But after that, they turned it around. Obviously, we saw this with Oklahoma. They've been playing on a tear lately. So I'm going to go ahead and go with Iowa State in this one. I just think that's going to be better. The weather's going to be 58 degrees. So that'll be interesting how that goes. There's going to be some cold football
I'd say
out there.
that's advantage Iowa State.
I do too. I think that's the case too. Let's go ahead and talk about Baylor at Texas. It's a 3 o'clock game. They're playing this in DKR. Over under 61 with Texas at 8.5 favorite.
I think Texas wins in college.
I think Texas finally gets back in the win column.
Yeah.
I think the last game against Oklahoma was very disappointing.
They
should have won that game.
They gave some fight in that game.
But at the same time, that's what you expect with Big 12 teams. You're expecting 58 to 60 points per team. But Baylor's going to be coming out. This will be their third game. Dave Aranda is head coach. I don't know what to expect out of them. I still think Texas has the ability to put up a lot of points. I think Sam Ehlinger is a good quarterback. They still don't have a run game, in my opinion.
No.
And I still don't. They have no life on defense. That might be the only defense that's worse than LSU. I wish they would have played this year. I wish they would have played again because they had the home and home, and of course Texas lost both times. But I really wish they would have played.
If they would have played, you could have gone to your bank, you could have mortgaged your home and put it on the over because those are two of the worst defenses I've ever seen.
That would have been like the Texas A&M LSU game.
That game would have been in the 60s, no doubt. Yeah.
But I think I'm going to go with Texas in this one. I think they can. I think they get back in the win column. I think they have better coach. I think Dave Aranda's still too rookie right now. So
I'm not even taking it for that reason. I'm taking it because they're back.
Yeah.
Texas is back.
No, let's stop all that. And I guess the last game we'll talk about is Oklahoma traveling down to Fort Worth to take on the TCU Horned Frogs, spitting blood out their eyes. The over-under is 59.5. Oklahoma is favored by 7.
I'm taking OU with the win and the cover.
Do we?
I'm taking OU.
Because, I don't know, TCU has been strangely competitive.
I'm taking OU.
And we've seen Oklahoma lose some dumb games.
I'll take the more talented team 10 times out of 10. 7-point spread on the road shows me 10-point neutral field, probably 2-score at home.
I'm wondering how healthy Spencer Rattler is, though.
If he's banged up, I still trust Mordecai. He didn't look great last week.
He didn't look great, but he didn't look bad. But he wasn't good enough to keep Rattler on the bench.
Yeah.
They still have some really good receivers at Oklahoma. They still do. Their defense is poo-poo, but all the Big 12 defenses are bad. I guess I'll go with them, too. I think I'll go with them. I think I'll go with the cover, too.
And then should we pick SMU Cincy?
Yeah, we're going to group of 5 after this. Yeah, we're going to group of 5. Yeah. There's one that we didn't talk about. I don't know if we talked about Georgia. Is Georgia playing this weekend?
I think they might be off.
They need to be.
Yeah.
No, hold on. We're gonna figure this out.
Who do they play?
Who is Georgia playing this weekend? Georgia is playing nobody. Are they off? They legitimately are off. Yeah, they need to take this week off so they can figure out what's going on. You need to get JT
another
healthy.
Week of health for JT.
Or is he just hurt bad? Because
he's medically cleared, but I'm guessing they're trying to ease him back in.
Well, shoot, you should have did that a long time ago.
It doesn't matter.
Game shape.
He's not going to be the QB next year anymore.
No,
it's going to be that
it's
Brock guy.
Yeah, Brock Vandegrift.
Yeah, Brock Vandegrift.
So let's go ahead and talk about some Group of 5 stuff real quick. We're going to get through that, have some fun with you guys. I want to start with Coastal Carolina and Georgia Southern. Coastal Carolina.
Let's go.
They are ranked.
They're fun.
They are the second best team in the South, in South Carolina.
They're fun.
They're finally ranked. They're playing Georgia Southern down in Conway. Y'all know the Teal Field. Get used to it if you don't. Over-under is 52. Coastal Carolina is favored by 6.5. I'm taking Coastal Carolina.
I'm taking Coastal.
Grayson McCall has been a revelation, and he is a redshirt freshman. This kid is so dang good. I am surprised at how Jamie Chadwell's doing with this team. Remember, everybody before the season thought it was going to be Appalachian State or bust.
Coastal Carolina was picked heavily as the last team in the conference.
But this team is impressing, not only offensively, but defensively. My only concern is that Georgia Southern, they still have Shy Wirtz.
Yeah.
They can score. They can score a lot.
They won big last week, if I'm not mistaken.
They lost, but they scored 50 points.
That was like that. That was like that Georgia State Arkansas State game. It was 59-52 last week. Yeah.
They ended up losing in that game. This is actually going to be probably the most competitive game in the group of 5, honestly, that I've seen outside of Cincy.
And the
SMU.
over-under was in the 50s?
It's 52. That's what I'm saying. I think that's
going to go
wrong.
over.
I think Coastal Carolina can score at least 40, and Georgia Southern, we know that they can score a lot of points. I think this is going to be, if it's 6.5, I think that's a reasonable line. I'm going to go Coastal Carolina can win this game by 7, but I see both teams scoring. I see Coastal Carolina getting up to like 42, maybe 40. But yeah, I think they're going to win that game. I'm just impressed with those guys. They get a helmet tap. Super stoked about them. Let's go ahead and let's talk about the SMU game. Let me find it here. Where are we at? Because remember I told you I picked SMU last week because I thought that the week before, because I thought SMU could get a win over Memphis. They did. Memphis turned around and got that win over UCF. So now the whole American Conference is kind of jumbled. The only team that's still undefeated in the American, if I'm not mistaken, is Cincinnati. Or is SMU? I think they might be. Either way, this game is intriguing. Over-under is 56.5. SMU is favored by 2.5.
I'll take Cincy. Give me the Bearcats.
It's because they're playing in Dallas.
Yeah, SMU's fun. They put up a lot of points, but I think Cincy's more talented.
And you have the more seasoned quarterback in Shane Buechele.
Yeah.
I still think I trust Cincinnati a little bit more than SMU right now, even though SMU is 5-0 and number 16 in the country.
So I'm assuming SMU takes the jump to the top 10, right? If they win, why not?
If they win, yeah, they're definitely in there. But if they lose, they'll probably
take the Cincy
tumble.
spot of the low top 10.
Yeah, if Cincy wins, they're in the top 8.
Yeah.
I don't know that they go down any further because you know how they are. Even in COVID year, they're still weird about giving those guys trouble about getting in the top 5. I don't think we're ever going to see a team from a group of 5 get in the top 5 this year. I think they'll do whatever they can to do it. I think actually what's going to end up happening is because teams are playing in certain places. Obviously, people have switched out. Texas A&M is not going to play this week, and they're going to end up getting in the top 5.
Yeah,
which is hilarious. But I'm going to go with Cincinnati. I just think I trust Luke Fickell a little bit more.
I'm taking Cincy as well.
I think Cincy's going to win this one too. I guess there's no other really compelling games. I think BYU's actually off this week, so we don't have to worry about that.
Wait, no, they play someone. Hold on.
BYU?
They play Texas State or something. Because I saw they're favored by 21 points. Hold on. I'll tell you who they play. They play someone this week.
Folks, if you're out there watching, let us know. I don't know. I don't see it. Tulane's playing UCF down there. The over-under on that game is 72.5.
Yeah, Saturday is the 24th, correct?
Wow, yeah.
They play Texas State at home.
They play Texas State.
I'm telling you, I think they could go undefeated. They've got Texas State, Western Kentucky. That'll be a close game.
Yeah, because Western Kentucky can put up points.
They do
play, yeah.
And then they play Boise, and then they have 2 cupcakes after that.
Yeah, and Zach Wilson.
Oh, awesome.
He's great.
He's got the headband.
I think the team might be a little sus, though.
No, yeah, the team is definitely on fraud watch, but Zach Wilson is awesome.
But he is legit. And they're the number 12 team in the country.
BYU is?
Yes.
They're number 12.
Number 12 in the country.
That is not the number 12 team in the country.
And they're going to beat Texas State by 1 billion points.
Well, we thought that about UTEP, and then...
No. Look.
That game got...
Texas State... Now, they did give Boston College a good game. I will say I think BYU is a much better team than Boston College.
Yeah.
They're better coached, at least. Jeff Hathley is new. Kalani Sitake.
I like BYU.
He is going to probably be one of the coaches of the year if they finish undefeated, which will be sad because BYU is not going to get in the playoffs.
They will get no recognition because the schedule is terrible.
But I like Zach Wilson a lot. I think he's a great quarterback, and I think they have a decent running game too. But that'll be an interesting game too. But I don't know. It's going to be some crazy college football. Let's just recap everything that we're talking about, and we're going to talk about the fact that, again, I'm going to come out with a couple statements. Clemson is the best team in college football right now. We're going to get to see Ohio State. We're going to see what they're all about. I suspect that they are the number 2 or 3 best team in the country. I think Alabama still runs the SEC, but I think Texas A&M might be the legit second best team in the SEC West. Can anyone refute that? They've already beaten Florida. I don't know about what's going to happen with Georgia, but as long as Stetson Bennett's there, I still think Kellen Mond might be a better quarterback than Stetson Bennett. They have a better running back in Isaiah Spiller. He's all about it. And their defense is playing better. I think that North Carolina and Notre Dame got a reality check. Bring it back down to earth. I think that you're going to see a group of 5 team really separate themselves, but still not get in that top 5 range. I think the Big 12 is going to get left out of the playoffs this year. And I don't know. I think Dino Babers gets fired. But with that said, folks, we're at the end of the show. I want to appreciate you guys for sticking with us for this time. We went a little bit long this week, but thank you so much for your support. If you will, please share the page. If you're on YouTube, like, subscribe. Thank you for getting in the comment section. You guys have been rocking here. Clemson Carson, John Sarian, I think I said your name right. We got a couple other people here, too. Thank you guys so much, and thanks for everybody that's watching over on Facebook. We'll be back here next week at Tuesday, 7 p.m. You know where to find us. We'll be talking about the recap of Syracuse game and going into the Boston College preview. We talk about all this stuff, too, going on in college football. As always, it's great to be a Clemson Tiger. You guys have a great night, and peace out.